Hola, ¿qué tal? Esto bien. I'm Ichiro Jinnai, working at LIBOR, a 100% programmatic capable OS media owner in Japan. It is a great honor to be a part of this ALOOH Live. Especially, I'd like to express my gratitude to Gerardo-san and ALOOH members for giving me this great opportunity. Also, I would like to mention Maroon-san, Inter America, and Andreas-san, Hivestack, for their leadership in guiding us for the future of OOH world with 3A compliant concepts and providing a cutting-edge case study, which I will introduce in my presentation. Indeed, it is a tough time for the OOH industry now, but I am very confident that ALOOH Live and this kind of global cooperation lead us and transform us to a new brightest OOH world.
Ironically, but good for the world in an aspect that COVID-19 brings creative destruction in every field of the business. The OOH industry is not the exception. In this presentation, I will introduce 3A accountable, addressable, and attributable concept and describe why COVID-19 accelerates 3A compliant OOH initiatives through a Japan case study. The pandemic of COVID-19 is the disaster for us and the industry. Look at this picture. This is one of the iconic landmark of OOH venue in Japan, Shibuya Crossing, under the state of emergency period. It was the busiest crossing in Japan in pre-COVID-19, with over 3,000 people passing by in a single turn of traffic signals. But once the state of emergency was declared, only a few people could be seen in this area and no advertising was displayed for the first time in OOH history in Japan at this venue. Sentiments sometimes mislead our decision making, so as advertisers. Some advertisers might still think that it would be a great risk to allocate media budget into OOH because they imagined there is no traffic outside of home. But this mobility trend data shows a fact. During the state of emergency period, we can see the big drop in traffic at CBD areas, especially at Tokyo Station. The traffic dropped by 80% in holidays and dropped by 50% in weekdays. But after the government lifting the state of emergency on 25th May, the traffic gradually increases and now we can see almost the same level of the traffic as pre-state of emergency period. Even in CBD area in Japan, audiences are already coming back to normal. I think it is quite natural for advertisers to think that to avoid COVID-19, the number of audiences on the go would heavily drop down, and accordingly, the value of OOH would tremendously decrease. But with the audience measurement system based on historical data or legacy system, we cannot tell how big the traffic dropped or how many of the audiences would see advertising now, kinds of questions. Also, COVID-19 brings heavily volatile situation in the world. We have experienced the sudden changes, such as the lockdown declarations, lifting the statement, new regulations, and so on. In such a volatile world we are living now, advertisers need more agility and efficiency in media planning. They expect media owners to deal with these trends are already seen among most of the advertisers as a new normal on their media investment strategy. These trends best describes. So we need a solution. I would like to introduce LiveBoard as a Japan case study of 3A compliant digital OOH initiatives. LiveBoard is a company formed on 1st February in 2019 as a joint venture with NTT DOCOMO, the largest mobile carrier in Japan, and Dentsu with 45.7 million investment in total. Three pillars of liveboard business are DOOH media owner, OOH ad network operator, and ad tech provider such as DSP and SSP for OOH. Liveboard is the first 3A compliant digital OOH company and drives programmatic. At first, I'd like to describe accountable aspect of the business at Liveboard. Here shows how Liveboard figures impression based on DOCOMO's data and give exact value of each ad spots, which is compatible with the other media matrix. This is the workflow, how Liveboard figures the work. Followed by the multiple global guidelines, Liveboard defines the viewable impressions and attributions of each single spot of ad deliveries. Firstly, determine the visible area of each specific frames. Logically, a visible area is defined by the size of the frame with the height of the installation, which is illustrated with a sector in yellow. But in the real world, there are some obstacles, such as buildings or trees, which prevent from viewing the frame, so that avoid these areas from the visible area, which is illustrated in green. Then count the opportunity to contact the number of audiences who are in the visible area during a time of ad spot. At Liveboard, starting with the DOCOMO's base station data with a 125 meter by 125 meter mesh, and statically defines and allocates the number of audiences into smaller meshes based on GPS data. Also, Liveboard consider whether the signals are coming from the ground level or underground. If the DOH frame installed in the ground level, then eliminate the number of underground audiences from the count. Finally, define several travel models, such as pedestrian travel model, car travel model, and bicycle travel model, to extrapolate the number of audiences who are in the visible area during each ad spot. To define the impressions, which is the number of audiences who estimated to actually view the ad during a spot of ad delivery, Liveboard parallelly conducts a research to find out the visibility rate of a frame. If the number of audiences in the visible zone is 100 and the visibility rate is 50%, then the number of impressions is derived from the calculation that the number of OTC, in this case 100, times visibility rate, in this case 50%, is 50. So that the number of impressions is 50 in this case. An environment such as underground or inside the building, where GPS signal is hardly received, Liveboard uses AI camera to count impressions instead. Install a camera and AI edge device to a signage system, which do not capture any privacy data, but only count the number of audiences who are heading to each frame. This video demonstrates a single AI camera detects the number of audiences of multiple DOH frames. This is a cost-conscious solution where the AI camera is the only choice to count the impressions. Regarding the attribution data of each ad spots, such as gender, age, or any custom categories of the target, Liveboard uses DOCOMO's mobile kukan toke, mobile spatial statistics. What about the addressable feature of OOH media? In a legacy OOH world, it is quite normal to buy OOH inventories with prefix schedule with advanced reservations. But now, advertisers want to start campaign with flexibility of timing and schedule. Due to the highly volatile situation caused by COVID-19, advertisers need to manage a last-minute order or cancellation. But in a legacy OOH world, the trading rules are too rigid so that the advertisers tend to avoid choosing OOH media in their core of media planning. But with the addressable live board marketplace, which consolidates various premium DOOH inventories into one platform, advertisers can buy most suitable inventories by a spot among the various environments such as billboard, transit, in-train or in-station, or in-store, with flexibilities of schedule and the timing of order or cancellation as well. Technology supports the addressable feature when advertisers want to buy a specific slot for a target. Liveboard is the first DOH media owner in Japan who is 100% programmatic native from the beginning of the operation. Once advertisers or DSPs connect to Liveboard marketplace, instantly feasible to buy premium Japanese OOH inventories from all over the world. Attributable aspect seems to be mandatory to all media categories now. OOH is not the exception. But with DOCOMO mobile survey, it is much easier to conduct a research of effectiveness of a campaign. A panel of survey is based on DOCOMO's loyalty program with more than 30 million users who give permissions to ask surveys. With DOCOMO data, it can detect the sample audiences who are likely to contact a specific ad in a screen visible area and ask them for the survey. Always understand the effectiveness of the campaign from upper funnel KPI, such as awareness, to mid-funnel to lower funnel KPIs, such as interest, brand considerations, store visit, or purchase in questionnaire basis. Most sophisticated and good describes the benefit of programmatic OOH is ID-based campaign measurement aspect. I will show you the beauty of location-based targeting with programmatic activation of the screens and how we can measure business outcomes through a cutting-edge case study of Intel. Intel ran a programmatic campaign on Liveboard screens. This campaign, called See It All, was purchased by the Intel USA IoT team using the Hivestack DSP, which programmatically bid on RTV bid requests from Liveboard screen in Japan to target decision makers of 4 categories. This is a great example of true cross-continent programmatic DOH. And the campaign implements the 3A approach to DOH, which is being championed by Intel's thought leadership. This is the Intel's programmatic campaign scheme, from planning and activation to measurement phases. First of all, define the targets. In this campaign, the targets are key decision makers in IT business, manufacturing, retail, and healthcare industries. Real-world behavior data, especially location data, help to define the targets. Geofences were used to identify key decision makers located at corporate offices, major branch hubs, place of business, and industry-related conferences that took place in late 2019 and early 2020. In total, intent from 1,704 business domains were measured. Based on location data and audience movement patterns, the Hivestack DSP helped Intel programmatically activate screens targeting a high concentration of business executives. To measure the result from Intel's See It All campaign, worked with identity graph partners to map exposed and control group device IDs, which were then passed on to a company specialized in measuring B2B intent. With these partners, bridge from offline world to online world to analyze the lift in search among key decision makers by measuring an increase in intent among the exposed group versus the unexposed control group of devices. The lift results were outstanding. With LIBOR's eye-catching screens, the See It All campaign generated an impressive 8.8% lift in B2B search. Lift in B2B search by decision maker segments are for IT business 11.2% lift, for manufacturing 6.8% lift, for retail 6.9% lift, and for healthcare 11.1% lift.
COVID-19 brings creative disruptions in OH industry for good. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that most adaptable to change. Herbert Spencer first used the phrase after reading Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species. Now is the timing for us to shift into the 3A compliant OH world. Thank you very much.